Buena Park is in the building. Buena Park? What's the deal? Nothing but the homies out there. Nothing but the homies. What's up with the homies?
Who poppin', we poppin', we major.
Welcome back to the show where anything goes. You're tuned into the Center Lock Show, and we got a special guest in the building today, a co-founder of two great companies, True 100 Radio and GCF, Gold Coast Federation Wrestling. My boy, Jamal Bostick. Jamal, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Blessed and highly favored, man. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm just blessed, just working, grinding, and just trying to put out good content. You're used to that. That's where we're coming from, the same field, and we're trying just to give our listeners, give our family something to listen to.
Yeah, man. It's a daily grind, man. This podcast and the radio stuff is no joke, but you gotta keep going, and it's the news is changing every day. So
absolutely, man. We're gonna get into some NBA talk, some WWE talk, a little bit of NFL today, but all those three things just from this past weekend, how much basically some some days are day to day, but like a weekend like this past weekend, it was basically hour to hour or update to update of what was going on. But before we get into all that, I really mean it, guys. Like, he has two great solid companies that basically from the ground up, he's been there from the beginning trying to continue build and continue to grow these companies. But Jamal, tell everybody a little bit about GCF and kind of what was the creative process behind it, but also like what was also the main goal of it.
Man, so GCF, man, as you know, Mark, and everybody else knows, I've been a long time wrestling fan since I was a kid, and wrestling shows were kind of far and few in between growing up, right? We couldn't go to a lot of wrestling shows because either WWE didn't come into town a lot or it was too expensive, right? So as I got older and learned more about wrestling, you watch more companies like TNA, and growing up, I watched WCW and ECW and WWE back in the day. But, obviously we couldn't go to ECW shows because it's too young and it was in the East Coast. WCW wasn't traveling like that. But as you got older, you kind of realize, there's a lot of independent companies around here. And what I wanted to do was kind of create something in my community to kind of give back to, what wrestling gave to me growing up. Because, wrestling was like an escape from reality, right? It's like watching your favorite movie or your TV show every week. You're dialed in, you're locked into like this imaginary world, right? The world of pro wrestling is a little bit similar, but, it's very real at times. I feel like people don't really realize how much it takes to become a pro wrestler and how much it takes to really be in that industry. It's a real grind. But kind of just growing up and the power of the internet and watching a lot of documentaries and a lot of behind the scenes stuff, I learned about the business. And I had some friends who were also diehard wrestling fans like myself. And my partner, Joseph Saint, he had a background in writing for pro wrestling. So he did a lot of writing for companies up in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest. So he had a little bit more insight into the wrestling business, like on the inside of it, than I did. This is around the time where I was kind of finishing up my internships for college when I finished my bachelor's degree at Cal State Long Beach. So I had a little bit more time, and I was in a period where, I was moving out. I was moving out the crib, and I was like, man, like I need to kind of start my career path, right? So, I kind of sat down, with him, a couple other friends, and I was like, yo, let's start our own wrestling company. Let's do it. We're fans of this stuff. Let's bring it, let's bring it home. Let's bring it here. Let's find some talent. Let's, go to all the training schools we can find in the area Let's, get a ring. Let's get a facility. Like, let's look into this. You know, and mind you, starting a business is not just as easy as, hey, let's go start this up. This is about like 8 to 9 months of paperwork, filing LLCs, tax numbers, things like that. Actually finding wrestling schools, actually finding talent. So this wasn't a one-man job in the slightest, man. This group of people, man, we've been through a lot of ups and downs with GCF, man. But I think we've built something very beautiful, and the fans have received it so much, and the wrestling community has received it so much, at least in SoCal. And people appreciate the things we do and the shows we put on, and the wrestlers appreciate us because we're giving them an opportunity to shine. And a lot of other independent promotions don't really do what we do. We've had full live stream productions over the pandemic. Not a lot of companies are doing that independently. We help provide training at Della O Jiu-Jitsu Center in Stanton, where we also run shows out of. We have a podcast where we can progress storylines because, it's not like WWE where we have weekly programming. So you kind of have to go above and beyond and kind of think outside the box to get people interested in showing up for a show. So, and building characters. This is independent wrestling. Nobody's going to know who a Jack Carwheel is unless we put him out there for you to see and give you something to want to look at. So, just a lot of work, man, but it's been fun. And, it's hard, and, growing up, you would never imagine, the legwork Vince McMahon and, Paul Heyman and all these guys had to go through to create such a product.
And that was going to lead me into my next question was, I know, WWE, WCW, now AEW. Can you, in a way, relate to a Vince McMahon, a Tony Khan, and so like a Paul Heyman, where it's you got all these moving pieces. You're trying to put a good show on. You're trying to take care of, the guys in the back, girls in the back. Can you relate to them now? So are you looking, I guess, would you look at the sport from a different angle now that you know what's going on behind the scenes?
So in a way, yeah, because when you're running the show, you have to look at it from all these different angles. You got to look at it from a business perspective, from a fan's perspective, from the wrestler's perspective, and as the creator's perspective. We all want to see, as a fan, you always want to see like the crazy shit. I love extreme wrestling, not like necessarily like the death match, but my favorite match ever is the ladder match. I love a ladder match. Hardy Boys, greatest tag team of all time, when we got into, GCF and all these things, we know we can't just go out and be like, hey, here's a ladder, go climb it, jump off it, do whatever. No, because some of the wrestlers aren't down for that. Some wrestlers want to get paid more for that. All these other things kind of go into it. It's got to make sense, and that's one of the things we had to learn. So in the beginning, because, there's an actually more detailed one coming out, I think, next year on Vince McMahon. But things, we've read about Vince and, stories you hear about Vince in the beginning. Yeah, he was hungry, man. He loves wrestling. It's in his blood. His dad did it, so he wanted to take what his dad built and elevate it, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I've sought out. And, I looked up to Joey Chaos and, Super Dragon and Excalibur and these guys who created really great promotions independently in Southern California and built names like Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, John Cena when he was out here before he went to OVW, these guys, and elevate it and take it to the next level where, you got your PWGs and your Santino brothers who are, the top of the crop out here. But how can we be better? It's kind of like being kind of like being in football on the football field when you're a freshman becoming a sophomore and you're trying to get on the varsity roster. How can I be better than the junior or the senior that's ahead of me? So at first, you got to work with them, you got to build those relationships. And I remember the first time I met Joey Chaos, the first thing I said to him was, "Yo, I was a fan of you in XPW." And of course, the wrestling term is coming off as a mark. You're a fan, so of course, people, it's these young dudes who are just wrestling fans who just want to create some dream matches or whatever. So we definitely had to deck that real fast with our first show, to where we had to show everybody where we were coming from, and we're creating a wrestling product that isn't for the marks, or that we're not trying to grab the biggest indie star and have all these charging $45 at the door and all that shit. No, like, we want to create an organic product, a different product, a new product. And I know now in wrestling, it's kind of hard to be original. You see the same thing all the time, and that's just what it is. You're going to see it everywhere. Originality is kind of flown out the window because everything has been done, right?
Yeah.
But now it's my job as creator, it's our job as a team to maybe do that same thing, but do it in a way where it's unforgettable and people want to come back and see what we do next.
Yeah.
And we're coming up on our 3-year anniversary, which, man, time has flown. And I think we've done a good job and a great job, and we're still building fans. And I think people have enjoyed what we've put out so far. And
I mean, absolutely, man. I think I forgot what was the actual event I went to at GCF, but well, me and my fiance went, and it was crazy, man. It was bodies flying around. We had, it was a packed. This was, of course, before COVID.
Yeah,
it was. And not everybody has been to a Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has been to a pay-per-view. I was lucky enough to been to a Raw and been to a pay-per-view in the Royal Rumble. So you can see the different production of, all right, it's not like, you don't really hear the announcers, like, you know what I mean? It's not all you hear, the mat off the ground, it's awesome to see that, like you said earlier, right? It's like football. There's a lot of players, right, that go down that road that want to make it to the league. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier before the show. You get tired, you know what I mean? And that's the thing. People want to say, "Oh, don't get tired." And absolutely, I totally understand. You put something, you give it your all, you give everything you got. You're not going to always succeed, right, within the football world.
Mm-hmm.
There's other factors that play a part that might be out of your control, right? You're not 6'4", you know what I mean? You're not running a 4.2 40, a 4.3 40, but you can still have access of going different paths. Doesn't mean you can't go to you're done playing ball, you can't go to the NFL, it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
It's not anymore. And now we're seeing companies like the The Rock bringing back the XFL, but even before COVID, they had the XFL, the AFL, which was working. And I think that's a perfect opportunity for people. Everybody wants to go to that big stage, and yes, you can continue to work. And what they were trying to say was the XFL and the AFL that they had going on, they actually sent people to the league. And
Mm-hmm.
I think this past playoffs, the quarterback from the Redskins, he almost beat Jam. You know what I mean? He was playing in that league. So you never know, for the guys that are in the wrestling community, my boy, we call him Butters, my boy Butters, you know what I mean? He's going by Jack Bruce or something. I can't think
Jack Bruce Davidson.
Yes, Jack Bruce Danielson.
JBD?
Yes, that's my boy. Shout out to Don Wynn.
Man.
Hey,
that's funny.
He was a one of he was a backup quarterback on our team, and he was there.
He went to Motor Park?
at Santa Ana College.
Oh, okay.
He went to Orange High School. You know, he did his thing there, whatever. You know, a little bit younger than me, but when we got to Santa Ana, um, my boy, like, if you ask anybody on our team, hey, like he was respected. He came to work every day, put the work in, and I'm, you know, excited to see what he got going on in this whole indie scene. You know,
Dude,
um,
listen, that kid is a workhorse, man. He comes to training every day. Kid puts in work. He's still working on his character till this day. He's improving every time I see him. And you know, we might have him on the next GCF show. You know, that's my guy, man. I got to give a lot of props to him. You know, and when you're a new kid on the block, you know you're gonna get teased, you know, hazed, all that shit. He's taking it in stride, man. He's taking it, and you know, and he's doing his thing, man. He's doing his thing.
hey,
I'm proud.
I'm letting him calling it out right now. Just like when Pat McAfee went to NXT, he needs some guys in his corner. Hey, Butters, you need anybody? Hey, I'll be there in your corner. Come out, me, Josh, the whole Santa Ana O line. We right there in your
Oh no,
corner.
not Big Josh. Keep Big Josh at home.
Man, but yeah, man, it's awesome to see what you got going on with GCF. You know, seeing it in person. Definitely recommend to everybody, if you guys want to go see something unique. You know it's going to go to a good cause. You're helping feed a lot of people. You're helping take care of a lot of people, and you're gonna have a great time. Whether it's you get to see. I think I saw a death match that day, or I don't know what exactly it was.
Oh yeah, I remember the show you went to. The show you went to was where we had Phoenix Kid jump off the roof.
Yeah, we had. I saw a girl get sweet chin music. It was wild. It was one of those nights. It was raining. I was like, you know what? This needs to be popping. This needs to get everybody out there. And in the city of Stanton still. You guys are still out there, right?
Yeah, we're still in the city of Stanton. Actually, September 18th is when we come back to the city of Stanton. Delo Jiu-Jitsu. We'll have more info later on this month. But yeah, we're coming back. Maximum Carnage. It's our first show back with the crowd, since the pandemic. So, we're excited. We're excited.
There you guys go right now. Make sure you guys tap in with GCF. I'll tag them under right now. So you guys go give them a follow. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they got it all. And make sure you guys get some tickets to September 18th. Maximum Carnage.
Pack it out. Maximum Carnage. We outside, man.
Hey, there you go.
We outside. It's supposed to be fun.
And then Jamal, let's get into this whole music scene. That's another thing I want to incorporate in my podcast, Center Lock Show. I want to start talking a little bit more music. And
okay,
there's not another person I can go to but you, because I've never heard of anybody. Yes, bigger stars and whatever been. They've already have established radio stations. I've never heard of anybody that created a radio station, right? And you're repping the OC heavy. Like, this is the Orange County.
Got to, man.
That's another part I wanted to bring you on here is you repping that huge. Probably, you're up there with some of the people that are repping it, the Jayhawks, the Nick Needhams, man. You're putting on for a lot of people. You're uniting, the different cities within our county, and let everybody know what's going on with True 100 Radio.
Man, True 100 Radio kind of has like the same beginnings as GCF, as far as like, me linking up with, friends who had the same mutual interest, except, these were friends from college and from different schools that I just knew and built a relationship with. And, we were all, went to college for radio, got our degrees. I'm still getting my master's degree for some reason, but, we all just wanted to start something to kind of help put the creator on the map. I'm all about giving the creators an opportunity. I feel like I've been blessed enough in my life to learn everything I've learned in both fields I'm in. And I want to help people who I believe in, who have either just as much talent as me or more talent than me, or not enough, to help get them to where I feel that they can be, right? So that's what True 100 Radio is. It's kind of helping creators grow. And I remember, when we first started, you asked for you asked for some guidance with starting your podcast, man. And I was more than happy to help you, man. And I'm proud of where you've been going with your podcast, man. I love what you're doing. And like a lot of people, man, like and it showcased independent music in Orange County. I didn't realize how much of a melting pot Orange County was, for the culture, not even just music, art, um, movies, writing. Like there's so many different like artists and creative people out here from everywhere, not just Buena Park, not just Anaheim, from Costa Mesa, Huntington Beach, Newport, all these places, Yorba Linda, like man,
Garden Grove, man.
the Grove, you feel me? Like there's artistry everywhere. And so, our job as, an independent radio station is putting ears to the voices. And, we have also branched out from Orange County. We have some LA artists. We've branched out to artists in, I'm blanking on it, in Britain, in England, in the UK. We've branched out to artists in Australia. We're streaming in like 12 countries right now, which is awesome. We've got some artists in Canada. We got artists in New York, Texas, Florida, Nebraska. I didn't even know people rapped in Nebraska. It's been a real cool experience. And we're about a year in. We started during the pandemic, and we've kind of just been going ham since then. I shout out to my team at True 100 Radio as well, man. We've been just going hard, building the website every day, putting out fresh content. I actually just gave everyone at the station a little mental health break because, you need those breaks, you feel me? So we had some time to kind of regroup, kind of just, refocus ourselves, realign ourselves, take care of ourselves, our families, just kind of just take it easy because, once September comes around, we rocking and rolling. It's all gas, no brakes. So kind of just things like that. My job as a person in charge and as a creator, I want to make sure the environment is a healthy environment to create. Even with GCF, I want to make sure everybody is comfortable with and is in a space where they can do what they love to do at a high level. It's the makings of a good coach. A coach has to make sure his players are comfortable with their position and comfortable with their game plan. Because if you're comfortable, if you feel good about what you're doing on that field, it produces great results. And that's what I feel like with True 100 and with GCF. If you help and make people feel good about what they're doing, you get great results, which, we've had great shows. People love what we're doing. Artists love what we're doing. We got a good writing staff. Just across the board, just great stuff coming out, and we're excited for the future. We got a couple things planned. CDC guidelines permitting, but it's been a real fun journey so far, and we're not even close to even getting started. I feel like we haven't even reached our peak yet. We're almost at a year of True 100 Radio, and we've been growing like crazy, and people have noticed and really have listened and appreciated what we've been doing. And I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed and real happy about where we're going with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think you guys have gotten, anywhere near that peak yet. You know what I mean? You guys are going to hit from what you guys are doing right now, it's gonna blow up. It's gonna blow up anytime. And you guys are so creative, like in the part exactly what you're saying, that you want anybody to come in and feel safe. You guys got pretty much everything covered. There's like you said, like a coach. You got people coming from different backgrounds, different situations, and you guys are a real, like that was one thing too, noticing about everything going on is that you guys are a real family. Like you always say, my True 100 family. Like you guys are really, there's no like competition. And, there's always a good, healthy competition, but like you guys aren't trying to destroy one another. You guys are all building each other up. With your different shows you guys got. Whether it's a music dedicated show, whether it's a wrestling show, whether it's an old school, and you got an old school rap one in there, um, stuff like that. Like you guys are continuing to grow, like you said, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. My next question would then be the radio scene is who, like, if you had to look at somebody like, you said, your boy Chaos with with the wrestling indie stuff. What was a good role model, not role model, but like inspiration for this radio scene? Who did you look up to?
I mean, it's got to be the voice of LA, Big Boy, man. My mom and him were friends, you know, coming up. So I got to take mentorship from him a lot. And also Chuck Creekman from allhiphop.com. He's my mentor through a lot of this journalism stuff too. And we talk every other day, just, him checking on me, asking how I'm doing, all these things. So those are two major people that got me into radio. And Robert Mercer. He was my first journalism teacher at Cypress College, and he was my mom's journalism teacher as well. So, it definitely came full circle, once I got to Cypress College after playing football, after being done playing football. I really knew where and especially at that point in my life where it felt like I was kind of falling away from football, which I was. I was really looking for a place where I felt like I belonged again to kind of, keep going. And that newsroom was where I belonged for sure. As soon as I stepped in, I felt welcome. And it made me want to work hard and go as hard as I could and learn and suck up as much as I could from anybody who was willing to teach me. And I'm still learning to this day, even though I am where I am now. If you're going, you get 24 hours in a day, and if you're not learning anything, you haven't lived. You haven't fulfilled, your time in the day. So I became a sponge quickly. And Mercer was the type of dude who let you have it, man. If he was doing poorly, he was doing poorly, bro. Time to get your shit together,
Yeah.
But I still hear his little, every time, he felt like I couldn't do something, and I would kind of prove him wrong a little bit. He let out like this weird, like old white dude laugh. And I hear it every now and then, when I do something that, I feel like I couldn't do. And, God rest his soul, man. He got me through a lot of things and dropped a lot of gems on me. And, he always said he saw a lot of, my mom in me, but he felt, I can be, I can surpass what she did. And she did a lot. But, I did a little bit of the same. Me and my boy Eric Lucas, we were trying to bring Cypress College radio back to Cypress College. But, we both graduated before we could do that. So we weren't able to really do that. But, we kind of laid that foundation. So that's kind of also where True 100 Radio kind of started. Well, at least that inspiration where I knew I had an idea in my mind of how I can start a radio station because, graduating college, you're supposed to go into the real world, right? You're supposed to find that job, that 9 to 5, and, kind of just fall in line. I've never been that kind of person to fall in line. It's probably why Coach White yelled at me all the time. So I always wanted to blaze my own trail and follow my own path. So that's what I did. Graduated college and said, you know what? I like these internships. I'm learning from these internships, but I'm not waiting 10 years to claim my spot. I'll put the work in for sure, but I can put the work in while building my own path.
Yeah, you're creating your own path, and every stop of the way, you're like you said, you're trying to soak it up, trying to learn as much as you can, but you're trailblazing through it all. And in today's world, you can do that with the power of social media, with the power of still word of mouth. And this is another thing why I like to bring interesting people on this show. Is they're not just regular athletes. They got stuff going on for them. They got bigger plans than just what's portrayed. You know what I mean? Like it's all about multiple things going for you. It's all about continuing to achieve, continuing to, grow. And like, really, man, like, I remember when you started posting about True 100 Radio, like I remember, of course, probably not from really day one, but once you started sharing it, to see from where it was to where it is now, how many people you got involved, how many artists you guys have put on that have you worked with, is just remarkable. It's really remarkable. And everybody you mentioned would be proud of you, and would be continue to support you, man. But we're gonna switch topics up right now. But before we do, give me a quick off the top some OC artists that people should be listening to.
Man, OC artist, my man Viliami from Anaheim, one of the illest dudes I know. Doughboy Tony from Santa Ana, my girl Sammy Love from Santa Ana. Obviously, my dog Travis Chase.
Right. Chase
shout out to him.
Summer.
Yes. Unspoken Views also from Buena Park. The Trip. They got some new music coming out. I heard a little bit of it. That's Devontae, Cam, Matt, my boys.
Right.
Hakeem's a DJ. They're doing some good things. Man, there's a couple. There's there's a lot of different artists. There's Kid Vista, D Soul, YBG. So he's actually on the staff at True 100 Radio. There's a lot of really good talent out there. And I can go on for hours about it, but
definitely,
those are some artists you should definitely check out. And Blake James,
for sure.
Blake James, yes. Yeah, really dope artist from Orange County, from our backyards, roaming around our neighborhoods. Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Hey, everybody tap in with those artists. Make sure they get you listen to some Drake. Make sure you guys, give them some streams, give them some love on the airway. But going into this segment of the show, a lot of people like this part because I'm hitting you with some questions that, are a little bit mainstream, a little bit put you on the spot. All right. So the questions I got for you today, and we'll discuss them, it's not just a quick answer. We'll go over them.
Okay.
First question: certified lover boy or Donda?
Certified lover boy.
Ooh, what do you think? You think it's tough? I really trust the people, putting Kanye's album up there. I haven't heard too much about Drake's, to be honest, he has great new stuff, but for me, it hasn't really been hidden since What a Time to Be Alive, you know what I mean?
Man.
Like, really, I mean, the other albums, yeah, they got hits, definitely classics, but like a true Drake classic, I don't know, man. Like nothing like nothing like What a Time to Be Alive. Nothing like If You're Reading This Is Too Late. Of course, Nothing Was the Same. You can take it like those albums, the old Drake, and it's the same thing like with Kanye as well. Like he's facing the same critique is, which version of them are the better version. But Drake's going back. They are saying this is gonna be. He's trying to take this one back, trying to hit with this R&B Drake. So
yeah, Drake is singing on this one again.
Oh, we got
the difference between those two, and you stated it as well, is their rollouts are very different, right? And Drake is very quiet with his. He did. So we've been waiting now 7-8 months for this album.
January, right? Like January.
It was supposed to come out in January. It's supposed to be out by Thursday night, Friday. We'll see. Drake is very calculating with his rollouts. I feel if he would have put Certified Lover Boy out in the beginning of the year, he would have felt he would have been setting the bar, right? Setting some type of bar. And the world wasn't really open yet. It wasn't like he could put the album out and then like 2 weeks later be like, all right, we're going on tour, because we didn't know. And he was tweaking it. adding some songs, taking some songs out, redoing some stuff. His creativity has kind of really blossomed and evolved since Take Care and Nothing Was the Same. Kanye, we all know Kanye. Kanye is the master. He's the master seller. He really needs to sell you what he's putting out, right? And Kanye's a showman. No matter what he does, he needs a spotlight on it. So it makes sense. It's true Kanye fashion to have a whole live stream listening party in anticipation for the album coming out after that live stream is over, and then going, nah, I'm gonna move into the stadium and album be out in like 2 weeks though. Just don't quote me on it, but the album will be out in 2 weeks, hopefully. And that's Kanye.
Here's my take on the whole Kanye situation, right? He got Hove back on there.
Mm-hmm.
You got everybody. I think there's like 12 artists featured. Top people too, not no
good features too, yeah.
Like top features. It's one, Jesus is King. Personally, I enjoyed it. I like the mixing of it. No classics, no, like it's not gonna be on Kanye's top, top list, top 10s, or probably not even top 50. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I could see where he was going. It seemed like he kind of rushed that out in a way. And like you said, he's a master of selling, but he knows when to sell.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So he knows when to put the money involved into it. And just like Drake, they know what they're doing. And I do think what we hear might change up how we listen to music in a world where people are just trying to rush out stuff right now. Like it's a lot of more of quantity over quality work right now. I feel like, you know what I mean? So I think that's what it's gonna. And the thing with Drake, why he posted, or why he's gonna do it this week, not really this week, but waited a little bit, was because he's gonna get the R&B feels. You know what I mean? He's gonna get that cold weather. He's gonna, if he had posted or dropped in January, it was only going, places were opening up, and you know what I mean? It would have been a different, take that sad stuff out of here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now people,
and also listen, Drake is a mastermind. He knows cuffing season is about to start. It's cuffing season. They're in like the preseason, I think, right now. Not even it's close to the cuffing season draft. So he knows what he's doing. He knows. I know, you got a fiance and everything, so cuffing season is long gone for you, but
Hey man, hey, I can still play the Drake R&B, you know what I mean? Hey,
got to. No, yeah, you got to play it for your lady, date night. I get you. I feel it. No, I see what Drake is doing with that. It's Drake, it's, hey man.
Do you think it's by chance, or you think there was a little bit of a extra oomph in making sure that album gets dropped this weekend?
Well, I mean, it's no secret that Drake and Kanye got a little tension between them, even with the Pusha T stuff, and just going back. I don't know if you remember this, but Kanye found himself in a similar situation with 50 Cent. It wasn't as crazy as it is with him and Drake, but it's where 50 Cent basically was like, "Oh, I'm putting my album out at the same time as graduation," and if Kanye sells more, 2007, you were young. But 50 was like, yo, if Kanye sells more than me, this is my last album. I doubt Drake is gonna be like, yo, if Kanye sells more than me, because that's not gonna happen. But there's definitely, I feel like Drake knows in a way that he has a better album. I feel like his fans know. I feel like we all know that Certified Lover Boy should be better than Donda. But if Kanye West loves anything more than himself, it's making music. So we're there for the music. As a Kanye fan, we might not like his antics. We might not like what he's done the past couple of years, but the music is going to put us in a certain place, right? So the music, it's not going to disappoint us, maybe, hopefully. you know. But compared to Drake, we know what album we're gonna play more than once that weekend. You feel me? So
Yeah.
I think that's where Drake is coming from. Where in this part of the Kanye versus Drake Hidden Hills saga, Drake knows he has the one up on him musically right
I think it comes down to personally what I believe. I think the importance, the airwaves, it's gonna be bigger for Drake off the bat. But if it is what people are hyping and people are saying this album from Kanye is gonna be, it has a possibility to be like a Yeezus album where it's laying the foundation down for the next generation of artists. And so hopefully we get one of those type things that both these albums are awesome, both these albums are you know that stand the test of time, because
now. Yeah,
they
of
both
course.
need it. They both do.
They really
Like,
do.
as much as they are making number one hits and all that and talk of the talk, they both need to drop something that stands that could rank up there in some of their top albums.
And Drake's been killing it with the features, But yeah, no, it's time. It's time for both of them, especially with Jay-Z coming back on that last track. I mean, do we get to watch The Throne 2? I hope so, because that was the first concert.
There's a lot of stuff banking on these albums dropping hopefully this weekend.
We'll see.
This episode will be shown Thursday the 5th. So if something comes out tomorrow night that neither of them are dropping their album until October,
we got to redo the episode.
Yeah. So yeah, don't be surprised either if that happens. But going into our next question, our last question of this segment, is a unique one, and I'm going to tie it into wrestling. At the GCF WrestleMania, whatever we want to call it, we'll call it the GCF Showdown of Showdowns, right? Me and you are in the main event. Who's the heel and who's the face, and why?
Man. So yeah, I'm gonna get into my Booker phase now. So let's just give the logistics of the show real quick. It's gonna be a huge show, and giving it that it's me, I would need to have it in a big setting or where it needs to feel like it's like a hometown type thing. So we're gonna have it at the gym at Buena Park High School.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So here's where me and you differ. We are Buena Park bred. We're Coyotes to the death. I can give a fuck about Buena Park High School, right? Especially on my way out. So I would gladly be the heel because I can just come out and just disparage all the teachers, especially Miss Arredondo, and talk about how much I hated Buena Park High School secretly, all these things. And you can be the baby face, Buena Park pride, your face was on all the posters on the programs, you were that guy. So you would definitely be the face and I'd be the heel. And it would be a good solid Stone Cold versus Rock type of main event.
So if you're saying Stone Cold Rock, are we doing a double switch?
Yeah. So
I coming out? Am I like spray tagging over the school logo? Maybe walking out with some La Habra colors, something like that, or.
See, I was thinking of walking out with the Fullerton Letterman. It's funny. I actually have one. One of my friends, when we were at Fullerton College together, we swapped Letterman jackets, but he gave me mine back and I never gave his back. It's somewhere. It's somewhere in here. So I was probably going to come out with the Fullerton. I mean, I don't think Buena Park and Fullerton are really rivals like that, at least in the high school. Maybe in the streets still. I don't know. I haven't been in that area in a while. But yeah, I mean, heal it up, dude. Like in true wrestling fashion, the bad guy really has to hate the place he's in, right? Just talk really bad about, where the fans are from. And we've both lived in Boynton Park long enough to talk about all the bad things.
Oh,
So
we would know. We would have a lot to say, and it would
yeah.
not
Oh,
be.
oh
It
man.
would not be hard at all. It would be, either way though. Either way, would have
But it's all in good
positive.
fun, though. It's all in good fun.
Yeah,
We
all in
love
good
what.
fun. So
Yeah,
there you
we
guys
love
go.
Boynton Park.
There you guys go right there. GCF, the showdowns of showdowns. It's probably what 2026, something like that.
Yeah, we just gave you guys a huge spoiler. It's
Yeah.
happening.
So
I'm sorry.
you
We
guys see
tried
it
to try to
happen.
hold it in. Yeah.
Yeah, keep it a secret. But
Yeah.
that was it. The first half of the show, guys. When we come back, we're talking Lakers. We're talking NFL. We're talking a little bit of the WWE news that's been breaking. And yeah, so make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. Use promo code Sideline10 to receive 10% off all of your graphic design needs, logos, pictures, business cards, anything that you need. Contact Matthew Cifuentes at Matt2Siffy. All right, thank you guys for tuning back in. And we just got done talking about how me and Jamal are going to headline the next, the biggest GCF event you can think of. And we talked a little bit about, of course, GCF, Gold Coast Federation Wrestling, as well as True 100 Radio. Both of them, Jamal helped build from the ground up. But Jamal, man, and my everybody tuning in right now, this has been a crazy about since what, last Thursday? Since this whole Lakers recap, man, like where we're at today, this is Tuesday. I'm reading this at 5:18. We got basically the best 2013 team we could possibly have thrown out there. Nah, but I mean, we got Russell Westbrook, brought him on, traded for him, got rid of Kuz, KCP, Trez, Thank you guys for your service. Appreciate it. KCP, holding it down on the house arrest. That's a Lakers. That's gonna be a Lakers top 10 list one day.
Yeah, KCP is for sure one of my favorite Lakers. Yeah, man, this last week has been crazy as a Laker fan because you're anticipating. Just given the last two off seasons, since we got LeBron and then got AD, all these things have happened. You're anticipating something crazy, right? And with that, and being on Twitter, you're anticipating, all that still ain't gonna beat KD, or all that still ain't gonna, so you got all these things going on around. But I know the Lakers are the oldest team in the league right now. That's fine. But listen, I actually said this to my boy Jacob Fanshaw earlier. It's well known within Lakers history. The last 6 championships that the Lakers won have had veteran heavy teams. What I mean by that is in the three-peat era, AC Green, who was 40 years old, who played in the Showtime era with the Lakers, was on those 3 teams. Played solid minutes, contributed to the team. Brian Shaw, who was like a 12-year vet. Ron Harper, who was also Rick Fox. All these old dudes were on these teams, played great minutes, played great defense, contributed to a lot. Robert Horry, who, if Robert Horry doesn't make a buzzer beater in Western Conference Finals Game 7, we don't have a three-peat. You feel me? So
I think Horace Grant was on one of those teams, right?
Horace Grant was on the team in 2000. So the Lakers have had veteran-heavy teams of guys who were still stars and really prominent role players on their previous teams in their heyday and can still prove that they can play. It's basketball, okay? Fast forward to 2000, 2009, 2010. Kobe wasn't getting any younger. He was kind of, reaching that point in his career where it looked like he was slowing down a little bit, but still playing high level basketball. Then you add Ron Artest, and you add, Pau Gasol, who was starting to slow down a little bit. You have who else?
Lamar.
I mean, you had a lot of young guys too. I mean, Lamar Odom, who's kind of like, he was up there. No, like he was like in his late 20s, but still.
He was like a Westbrook. He's been there, done that.
Yeah,
had his run with. I mean, he was on the old Clippers, the early or the late '90s with the clip show. Everything going on with them.
Miami Heat, and then came the Lakers. So I mean, there's just been veteran heavy teams, and let's not forget that that 04 team with Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Shaq, Kobe. That it ended disastrous in getting swept by the Detroit Pistons, but it worked in the regular season and throughout most of the playoffs.
Even Magic took them when like the mid '90s when the Lakers.
Yeah, when Magic came back after the AIDS thing, he came back and played high level basketball. So the Lakers have always historically made it work with veteran players, given the fact that and Kobe and LeBron were similar later on in their careers, where they couldn't really counteract with the younger players. Kobe, as much as Kobe enjoyed playing with stars like Dwight Howard and Steve Nash was literally at the end of his career. Like
broken.
He was broken. Dwight Howard was overwhelmed being in LA. He couldn't handle it. It just wasn't working out. Pau Gasol, towards the end of his career, I mean, he ended up playing for 6 more years, but still. Ron Artest at the end of his career, it just wasn't working out. And then you had the young core. You had Jordan Clarkson, Wayne Ellington, Xavier Henry, like Jordan Farmar, who was a veteran on the team, but Kobe can coexist with the young guys. And we saw that in the downfall of that season and up until Kobe retired. It just wasn't working.
The baby Lakers, yeah.
Yeah, Kobe had very high expectations, just like LeBron does, of, if you're going to play on this team, you need to play basketball to the level that I need you to play at. And if you can't do that, you're not going to last long on this team, which is why he was calling Jeremy Lin soft in practice and all that, So LeBron, even when he was in Cleveland and even in Miami, had veterans on his team. Ray Allen, Udonis Haslem, Mike Miller, Birdman, veterans, dude. J.R. Smith in Cleveland, Anderson Varejao that first year he came back. Veterans work better with veterans.
Yeah.
You feel me? So this is right up LeBron's alley because him, Westbrook, and Carmelo are friends. They are friends. Westbrook's from LA. He's always wanted to be a Laker, so this works out for him great. And Melo's at the point of his career where he's figured out what his role is. Off the bench, he can still score.
He needs that ring.
And he needs a ring. I want him to get a ring. Carmelo Anthony is one of my favorite players of all time.
All time.
So I'm glad he's a Laker, and I'm glad he's, competing for a ring. Trevor Ariza. He's had experience. He's won a championship with the Lakers before. Still can play defense at a high level. He's had some injuries the last couple of years, but it's basketball. It's an 82-game season. It's going to happen. Dwight Howard had his redemption season, in the bubble, won a championship. Didn't really play much in Philly because he's behind Joel Embiid, so he didn't really have to bump around all that much. But now he's back. What we lacked in the things we lacked in last season, with losing Danny Green and certain players, we've gained again. They're just older, but we still got guys that can play defense at a high level. We have guys that can run the offense. You can run the offense through any one of those 4 guys. You run it through Russ, who's a walking triple double. You can run it through LeBron, obviously. You can run it through AD, which we should be doing when he plays the 5. And you can run it through Melo off the bench. You know,
And that's the crazy thing of it all is I think in all of this, AD is getting forgotten.
man, which is good, which is a good thing.
Which is scary because I mean, from an outside looking in, as a Laker fan, I'm like, okay, let it. You know, I think you got a little bit. AD had a little bit of a honeymoon type
Coming
early
off the
on.
championship,
Dealt with the injuries. We ended up playing basically 2 months after winning a ship, anyways. So like playing in that extended season, like I think AD's a legit, Kendrick Perkins says, he's a legit MVP candidate this year. I think AD's gonna figure it out this year. I think he's gonna be with LeBron this offseason, and LeBron puts over $1 million into his health every year, and I think LeBron's getting up there in age now. You know what I mean? So he might have to put a little bit more, or there might be a little bit more tweaks in the gears. But if AD can follow a solid plan and maybe take some tips and pointers from LeBron, and AD is like only 27, 28.
Yeah, 27.
So, he still has a lot of ball. And I think if he can put it together, stay healthy, if you throw in an MVP type AD in all of this, it doesn't matter. Don't even care. Giannis is still, that's the closest person that can maybe match up with AD in the entire league.
Yes.
There's nobody that's going to come to you with offensive production. There's nobody going to come with you with defensive production as good as AD when he's
especially as a big in the West.
Joker can show up, but I think that's when you throw Dwight on him and you Dwight just bully him the whole.
Oh, and we've seen that already. We've seen Dwight do it through Joker way off his game.
But I do think 2 other key signings, and we'll see what we do with our last 2. Keeping THT, and then getting but with at this point getting Kendrick Dunn. Those are young guys that are going to explode. And like we saw THT last year, he was just exploding and maybe throwing up a couple shots that, maybe weren't the best shot in that situation, but he's not afraid of the moment. And very similar type player with Kendrick Dunn. He's not afraid of the moment. He'll take that big shot, you know what I mean? And maybe they kind of fill in that role of they don't need to be that third option, but when they need LeBron was like,
hey,
shoot that Kuz, you know what I mean? Those guys will shoot and don't care what miss or not. They'll keep, like they'll have that Mamba mentality of, all right, we're gonna come back, we're gonna shoot it again. Don't matter if we miss or don't. You know what I mean?
And let's keep it a buck. Let's not forget Kendrick Nunn was cooking us in the finals a little bit. So
and we're all from Chicago. I think that was another piece right there that, I don't know who's behind these signings. If it's all Rob, if it's
I swear, if Rob Pelinka don't get Executive of the Year this year, man, come on, bro.
Hey,
what are we doing?
Getting a statue outside Staples. I'm calling it now.
If we need to build it, let's do it.
If he can bring us, and I'm getting a little carried away, but if he can bring us 2 to 3 more titles, he should be viewed as one of the top GMs that's maybe been around, because what he did to bring where the Lakers were at when he took over to where we're at now is like,
oh my God, cleaning up the Kupchak family mess. Oh, dude.
Oh man,
getting rid of Luol Deng and Mozgov's contracts. Oh,
him with Genie.
Oh,
shout out to him. Shout out to Rob. Shout out to Genie for really getting the Lake Show back where it's a better time. Not having the Lakers around for playoffs. And,
man. Watching the Clippers.
To be honest, we missed out on a Kobe Braun, NBA finals. So we saw all what Golden State was able to do and Bron, and those are some great matchups, but you know, it wasn't as good. It wasn't as, they were great. Loved every instant of it, but not having the Lakers around just did not feel right. Did not,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But to have them back, it does feel right, and it does feel like we're a destination again. You know what? If you could come sign for that 1 year, vet men, but guess what? We're gonna put you on to all these opportunities within outside of the game. Whether you want to help out with some entertainment, whether you want to get involved in some, you know, alcohol creations, you know what I mean? Like anything it is, LA is, I think
It's a place to be.
AD was doing the whole credit card thing and
Yeah.
like all that stuff. Like that does not happen if you're in a small market, and some of these guys can come out here, do their thing, and who knows, THT or I'm telling you guys now, if you guys like Schroeder, you guys like those type of players that just do it, just go out there and dribble, make some moves, put up buckets, you guys are going to be fans of Kendrick Nunn for sure. But switching it up, we're going to talk some WWE.
Oh, man.
Jamal, what's going on, man? What do we need to do to get to Connecticut? Do we have to do we need to
WWE is blowing it. Okay. The pandemic was not the most fruitful thing for WWE at all. It's just been bad decision after bad decision in the front office. And I think what started it, and I know Saint's going to laugh at me for this because I've been saying this for the longest time. But when they fired Eric Bischoff 2 years ago, I think that's what cursed them. They were heading in a direction when hiring Eric Bischoff to go back into an era where they were successful in and tapping into a part of wrestling that they kind of lost, man. Like the PG era, you can only do so much with pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is not PG. It's not. Pro wrestling is not catered to kids, even though a lot of us were kids when we started watching wrestling. But pro wrestling was made for the adult male ages 18 to 35. That's what pro wrestling was geared towards. That's what pro wrestling fans look like now. That's just what it is. And you need to make products that appeal to them. When you have cookie cutter shit like we've seen the last couple of years, that's where you're going to lose fans. That's when the internet's going to start talking about your product. That's when, you start making all these bad decisions and forcing all these guys that we don't really need to see right now, and throwing all these other guys who are very talented and can get you back to where you need to be in the back burner. Wrestling has also evolved a lot since the Attitude Era. I don't know about you, but if you've watched an Attitude Era match recently, not a lot of good wrestling. I think, growing up, it was definitely a lot of the characters that we were in love with and the moments as far as the actual wrestling. I mean, but you had your great wrestlers like Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, those guys. But compared to the roster now, it's like 80% of the roster are really great wrestlers. Like your Seth Rollins, your Cesaros, there's so many.
I mean, you got Apollo, somebody like Apollo,
Apollo Crews, Big E, Xavier, Kofi, Drew McIntyre, even though I'm kind of over him a little bit. Even Brock, when Brock shows up and cares about, what he's doing.
You can't forget Bobby Lashley as well. I mean,
Bobby Lashley's had a huge resurgence this last year. I've always been a Bobby Lashley fan. I'm a huge MVP fan. I'm glad that they were put together. I'm a huge Shelton Benjamin fan. So when the Hurt Business was a thing, I was like, wow, this is going to be great. Shelton Benjamin's going to be in a big spotlight again. Cedric Alexander's going to be able to get his name out there. It's going to be good. And then they just split him up after a couple months. So, I think just bad creative decisions, and then releasing all these wrestlers who have huge star power, knowing that AEW and Japan and TNA are kind of like gunning for you guys. They're making products that people, might not be interested in because of the stigma behind those companies, but they're going to watch anyway because of wrestling. And exposing those guys to the indie circuit that you've cursed for all these years, but now it's coming back to bite you. WWE is kind of opening the door for us, being surpassed, and Vince McMahon can deny it all he wants to. If WWE keeps going the way they're going, and if AEW keeps making all these things interesting and, getting all these former WWE guys the shine that they deserve, AEW is going to be that new powerhouse in pro wrestling.
I think to keep it in a unique aspect or a unique angle, I think there's something going on. I think there's more to it than what's being presented right now.
Really?
I think it's whether it's I know there's a lot of rumors going on that the company's in doing everything financially, doing everything on the business side to, looking like it's going to be prepped to be, or it's being prepped to be sold. I mean, a lot of financial people have looked at it, and that's kind of what, forgot the other con, on the WWE side they brought in to help them with their budget. He's kind of been known to do that, like where companies have sold. He makes them a lot of quick money, and then he cuts their costs, and then it sells. So I don't know if it's going to be I don't know exactly what the angle is going to be, but I also look at it. If I'm Vince, if I'm like, you know what, we have put good content out, they have. There hasn't been really any challenge to them. TNA's gone close, but to what level? Really. I mean, you can say the Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles days.
That was huge, yeah.
Christopher Daniels, like all those Abyss, all those Sting, all those guys. You know what I mean? They had a good content. Bobby Roode was over there. All that stuff was solid stuff, right? But did not really push WWE. You know what I mean? Didn't really, it did. Sometimes that's when I guess you started to see really more of the indie scene take over, and you see some of these smaller companies to what it is now start to be planted back then,
Yeah.
But if I'm Vince, I'm like, I need AEW to get bigger. I need them to get popular, to maybe, if I'm Vince and I'm like, what catapult us into another stratosphere? It was WCW.
Yeah.
And the same thing, you took Hulk Hogan, you took Bret. I mean, people don't understand. Every single wrestler that has been released by WWE has nothing.
Else got huge, yeah.
Has nothing compared to what Hulk Hogan was and is to the WWE. He basically put them on the map and made them what they are. With WrestleMania, with everything. If there's no Hulk Hogan, there's no WWE. That's straight up.
It's true.
As just when you're talking Hulk Hogan, back then at that time, mid 90s, whether they call them the ABC era, eat your greens and count to three, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Eat
your vitamins and say a prayer.
They needed to let go of some of those guys. And I don't know if it's the right decision. Maybe they're not making the right picks of who they're letting go. But I think that's what's being going on right now. I think there's something to it. I think Vince knows that he has to build up AEW. And because he's seeing AEW is taking Andrade, AEW is taking, Dean. They took, Cody is WWE. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
all that stuff.
Then,
they're gonna take, CM Punk, maybe Daniel Bryan, and then we'll see what happens with Braun Strowman and Bray. But if they get to a level where they're looking at them eye to eye, and they're not nowhere near that level yet, you know what I mean? If they can get to that level, all right, then if I'm Vince, I'm like, all right, let's tune it in. Let's get it going. And then
Yeah, I think now though, at least with Tony Khan, the difference between him and Ted Turner back in the day, Ted Turner took a lot of risk with his wallet, right? Tony Khan is taking a lot more risk, yeah, with his wallet, but he has smart wrestling minds behind him this time. He has Cody in his ear. He has the Young Bucks in his ear. He has guys like Jerry Lynn and Dean Malenko, guys who have been in those WWE systems. Like, hey, this guy's money. Let's push this guy. Or hey, let's have Matt Hardy on TV for a little bit, but not in a wrestling role. Like he can manage this tag team, and let's bring Christian in and have him feud with Matt Hardy, but not really feud with Matt Hardy. Kind of like these things, kind of just the small things that kind of build up the nostalgia, but it's also it's laying that foundation and growing the roots underneath it still, where it's not just you're chasing nostalgia, like bringing Goldberg back to win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. It's pushing the future while you're doing that. You see, it's not, with bringing John Cena back to face Roman, it's adding to Roman's storyline,
absolutely.
whether he wins or loses. Because John Cena's not gonna, if he wins, he's not gonna be champion for long.
Yeah.
So as compared to Goldberg beating Bobby Lashley might not even get a rematch. It might just be Goldberg, then Brock Lesnar comes back for some reason, and then Brock takes it off Goldberg, then the cycle repeats itself.
You're back at square one.
As opposed to AEW, where they didn't put all these huge WWE guys, with the exception of Jericho and Moxley, into the world title picture. They're kind of putting them with these other guys like Taz, putting him with Brian Cage and Ricky Starks and Willie Hobbs, and like putting Luke Harper in the Dark Order, which, rest in peace, but they're talking about, the right thing to do would be put Bray Wyatt in the Dark Order and have him be the next, exalted one, which would be dope because it would give Bray Wyatt creative control and to see where he can take the Dark Order, because Dark Order is getting a little bit stale. So, it works out. And, just things like that. And I think, when you have more wrestling minds, more younger, fresher, in the now wrestling minds, it helps bring your product, further to the forefront. So your idea, I like how you're breaking that down, but that could lead to the downfall if Vince doesn't listen to, more of the people around him that he's not really listening to, like Triple H, who's doing a damn good job with NXT and has been doing.
I really think it's more than just Vince. I think if there's any way to storyline, Hunter to take over, is I think there's more to it. There's like, if I'm looking at it, they're not gonna give them away for free. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like, you're really looking at it like, and then you're saying it's not for free because it's costing them fans, and but I really feel like if in today's world, if there was a Monday Night War, whatever they want to call it, wrestling war, it has possibility to be huge with how like imagine social media back then. Undertaker throwing Mick Foley off, the cage, the Hell in a Cell. That's number one trending worldwide, So like, I think they know there's money in there. I think they're doing a good job with building two solid champions right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Bobby Lashley, or not Bobby, but if I'm Vince, whoever's going to be in charge of that match at SummerSlam, dude, I have him squash Goldberg.
That's the smart thing to do.
That I mean, and maybe they do. If Roman wins, like, you have two solid champions that can lead you into that war, because it's gonna be the way it's looking. Let's say Bray goes, let's say Braun goes, it's gonna be CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, like all those guys debut within the next couple months. We're looking at by this time next year, as we're either should be in the war should have been started, or it should have been like we're about any moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you have that solid core. I think you got Seth, who fills that Shawn Michaels role. You know what I mean? You got Roman. We got depends. This is what I would do, and we'll see what happens. If storyline wise, if you can put Big E and to let's say build, build up Bobby this whole time. You know what I mean? Build him up, build him up, build him up. If you're not going to feed him Brock, let's have Big E take him out. Then you have Big E and you have Roman. You got Seth. You know what I mean? You're going to have these young guys come in through NXT coming in. The one that's a wrestler right now, he's in the Olympics. I can't think of his name, but they're going to be building him up. The moment he's done with these Olympics, he's coming to WWE NXT and going to be trained. You got the guy they're calling Young Brock. I think they're gearing up for something. You know what I mean? I really feel like,
I hope so.
As a fan, that's all we can do, because if it is just old man Vince just firing people, and that can be bad, but also maybe it's time. You know what I mean? Maybe it is time for the next wave. People didn't think WCW was going to go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it's just giving Vince and just to be clear, Vince will always go down as the greatest promoter. And if Vince doesn't do what he did, we're not wrestling fans, right?
Yep.
Like we're not having this conversation right now. So Vince, no matter what he's done or what he does from this point on, but no matter how senile he is, we have to thank Vince for giving us the product that he's given us. Everybody, no matter what company you wrestle for, Vince McMahon is the reason why everybody is where they're at in wrestling. But it is definitely time for someone to take the reins and make sure that if there is a war happening, that the WWE can come out on top, and it looks good for them, because they have the players still. They have the guys that they've wanted to have there. They have Roman, they have Seth, Cesaro's there, John Cena can still wrestle. They got Bobby Lashley, they got the Ricochet. They got guys. They got guys that are stars, that have star potential, that can compete, even on NXT. It's just a matter of using them correctly. In AEW, they're getting better at it. At first, it was kind of just very still ran like an indie promotion, things like that. But they're getting the hang of it. And they're getting the hang of it quick. Them pushing Hangman Page, we don't know what CM Punk's role is going to be. We don't know where Daniel Bryan's going to be at. Them pushing Andrade, all these things happening. Jericho in a huge feud with MJF. MJF, man, dude's a star.
Look, here's my take on MJF. I think he pulls a Jericho and he flips sides. I'm calling it right now. If I'm MJF, if I'm like, you know what, the money's still, the popularity still with the WWE. And I'm pretty, Khan can give him as much money as he wants, but I think I think nobody would expect it. I think if he gets lost in maybe this next, you're going to bring all these guys in, he might get lost. And, Jericho was working with Goldberg. Jericho was working with the top of the top with WCW. And he kind of just, we forgot about him a little bit. And through that moment, he, switched sides. If he does that, you're looking at the next Jericho type person. And I see him in that same role. I don't see him as a John Cena I don't see him as a Roman Reigns, The Rock, Austin. I think he's somebody that can be maybe a CM Punk. You know what I mean? Or his mouth just is phenomenal, and that can help him so much. But I think he flips sides.
That's an interesting take. I like that. That'd be crazy. I mean, and even with the Jericho thing, nobody thought he was gonna leave WCW because of how much success he had and the direction WCW is supposed to go in. But that didn't end well. But that and Jericho. Well, I mean, it probably wouldn't happen to AEW if that happened. But what Jericho leaving WCW eventually did, they had to push all these really young dudes in the cruiserweight division, and they had to bring, Chris Candido back and all these things. And it kind of fucked them over in a way, especially when that was the period where they gave Hulk Hogan full creative control over his character. So he was winning the world title whenever he wanted to. Kevin Nash was in and out of the ring, and Scott Hall was going through his problems. That was still, I mean, imagine if Twitter was around in 1999 and WCW late 99. You'd be like, yo, all these old dudes still on TV.
Yeah, what's up with Eddie? What's up with Ray?
While these young guys are still fucking killing it in the ring. It's a lot like WWE right now. Whenever you bring guys like Goldberg back, I've even seen Edge criticism where it's like, why are you bringing Edge back when you got guys in the locker room who can feud with Seth Rollins just as like, especially after, him and Cesaro had that match at WrestleMania. Like criticism is gonna happen no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But when you let go of guys like, Zack Ryder and Heath Slater, and they're kind of striving and excelling on the indies and in these other places when they could have been used in WWE, that's kind of when you can get looked at sideways. But I think it's a really good time to be a wrestling fan because there's so much good wrestling on right now. That's
absolutely right, my boy.
Complain all you want to, but you're still tuning in to watch every week. You're still scrolling through Twitter. You're still tuned in, and that's what Tony Khan and Vince McMahon, and Scott D'Amore, and Ishii and Gato. This is what all those guys want you guys to do. They want us to tune in still, and they're giving us something to watch every Monday. Well, damn, like every Monday through Friday, there's wrestling on all week now. So, the wrestling business isn't suffering at all,
Absolutely right, my boy. We'll just take a little bit into NFL. I know it's been a long episode, but what do you think your team's going to do this year? You think you guys got a solid squad?
Man, look, my Patriots, we had a rough year last year. COVID hit us hard. But I think full off season, full training camp, Cam Newton's comfortable with the offense. Josh McDaniels is comfortable with Cam Newton. We finally have a receiving core. We got a really good tight end, Hunter Henry. I don't know how they pulled that trade off, but they did. We got a solid defense, a good defensive line. Still got the best secondary in the league, I feel. Maybe top 5. I think the Patriots will be just fine. Do we win the AFC East? Who the fuck knows, man? The Buffalo Bills are killing it. So
yeah.
who knows if we win the division, but I think we make the wild card.
Hey, there you go. Hey, it'd be awesome to see Cam Newton to succeed with Bill, with Josh McDaniels, and for all the naysayers that said, I'm a big Cam Newton fan. So, just like, Cam Newton's like Melo to me. Like, man. I've always supported him. Always would have been dope to see him, in the black and gold, like same, Melo. Hey, man, nothing against Melo. The braids back in the day, like that shit was awesome, And that's why I put up a video, NBA Live 2005, man. That was my video game back in the day. They had a slam dunk contest and all that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think the Patriots have a solid year. I think they do. A lot of people talking bad about Bill Belichick, acting like he didn't, have a big part in winning 6 championships. Shout out to Tom Brady, the GOAT. But I think a lot of people get
It's the system. Yes.
Rude awakening this year, talking all that trash about Bill Belichick.
Let's hope so. What about your Steelers, man?
Hey, you know what?
Some are calling them the worst undefeated team in history. How do you feel about that?
I feel like people don't watch football. People don't understand football. People saying that are probably Raider fans or Cowboy fans.
That's fair.
Or Travis Chase, Baltimore Ratbird fan.
Let them know. Let them know.
I saved all the receipts last year. We still won the North. I get it straight, barely could win a game the last 8 weeks of the year, but we still we still beat you in your own place. So don't get it straight. You know what I mean?
His rebuttal is the Browns beat y'all twice and in the playoffs.
Okay. What happened the week after? I told you Lamar was not going to get the job done. Anyways, I think we have a solid year. I think we had no bye week last year. We had everybody get hurt, everybody get COVID, like literally the last second half, like after week 11, we had everybody get sick. People got hurt. We played a game that was supposed to be played 10 days before. We like all that stuff matters, and
also the Browns beat you guys without a coach.
For how bad we started against the Browns, we still made that game interesting.
That was a really good game. I watched that game at work. That was a solid game.
We got Najee Harris. We got a new offensive coordinator. We brought in Melvin Ingram. I think it is Melvin Ingram. From the Chargers. You know what? TJ Watt's going to be on a tear this year. Should have won defensive MVP last year. You know what? Joe Hayden, Minka Fitzpatrick got disrespected in the Madden rankings.
He did.
Like the 10th best safety. You guys must be really not watching football because you know what? We're probably going to have a top 5 defense, and I'm calling it right now. We're going to have a top 10 offense. We're going to win
top 10 offense?
Top 10 offense. We got
Ben
Najee Harris.
Roethlisberger's your quarterback?
Yes, because look at Ben Roethlisberger doesn't need to throw the ball 40 extra times in a game this year because we have Najee Harris and we have a revamped O-line. Last year we had our old, hurting, injured offensive line. I'm a Steeler fan. I love Pouncey. I love DeCastro. I love Villanueva. They were old. They weren't getting the job done. And you know what happens? You replace them with some young, hungry guys that are getting a little bit doubted, and they go get the job done. You know what? The Steelers, there's a reason why the Steelers are hated on by everybody. And it's very much like your Patriots, is because teams with no success have nothing to do but hate on teams in the playoffs because they're at home watching, their teams already be eliminated in week 12, okay?
Yeah, Miami Dolphins. I don't care how good y'all defense is.
Hey, don't even start with right now. The Dolphins might come in.
Nick
Needham's going to have a great year this year. I'm calling it right now. Jalen Hawkins is going to have a great year. Alex Redmond on the Patriots, my boy, is going to have a great year.
Yeah, I think I said Nick was going to have 8 picks this year. I think I put that on my draft.
Yeah, he's going to get paid then. Shout out to Seawall with the Bengals coming back this year. He's going to have a great year. Hey man,
I still got the Browns winning the North though, but that's just me.
Oh man, I still got the Bills winning the.
So it's like
we'll as long as
we're just being fair.
I'll take our defense if we're healthy come playoff time. Hey, I'm not scared of nobody.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
like
healthy Cam Newton.
We got the defense to win us games in that time of the year.
Healthy, confident Cam Newton. Week 1 last year, Cam Newton, we solid.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. As long as people stay healthy, I think there's a lot of good teams and there's a lot of good competition, and football is going to be amazing this year, both in college and in the NFL.
Oh, most definitely.
High school. I just want things to stay the same, man. I just want football back. I want to go catch a game.
Right. I gotta catch a game.
Smell the cleats, smell the helmets, that.
There's a game for sure we got to catch. That's that Santa Ana and Fullerton game. I know you're a Santa Ana guy.
Shout out to Coach White.
Shout out to Coach White. But I'm gonna have my money on. I'm a Hornet for life, man. So
hey, I'm a Don for life. You know what I mean? Hey, I got 2 victories over the Fullerton Hornets. You know, by forfeit does not matter. I still got 2.
was a bad year. That was a bad year.
Hey, it's all good.
That's the year Coach
Hey.
Burns got fired, man. Come on now.
Hey, Jamal, I appreciate you, my boy, man.
Thanks for
We got to
having me,
wrap
bro.
things up. We got to get to our conclusion of this podcast. It's a
Yes,
long
sir.
episode, but hey, this was a great time, my
You know,
boy.
this is a good one. This
So
is a good talk.
the last part of our podcast is more of a time to get close to you, to get, you know, our fans, our listeners, everybody wants to know a little bit more about you, get a little bit inside the mind of Jamal Bostick. All right. I'm going to read you 4 names / titles, and I want you to describe in one word what that name or title means to you. All right.
Okay.
First one is your mom.
Oh man, there's a lot of words to describe her. The queen.
Okay.
She's the queen of everything. She's the reason I do what I do now. For sure.
Shout out to mom. Shout out to queen. All right. Next one will be your grandfather.
Dude. Oh man. Prophet. Dude, I mean, he's given me so much game over the years, and we've butted heads a lot more in my adult life, but the love is unconditional for sure. You know, he's been more of a father to me than I've ever had. So, you know, my grandpa, he just wants me to be great, man. He tells me this all the time. You know, he just wants me to be great. That's why he's so hard on me still as a 27-year-old man. But yeah, no, he's literally the strongest person I know.
Shout out to grandpa, man. Next one, RJ Wallace.
RJ Wallace, man, visionary.
Ooh.
RJ Wallace, man. You know, in entertainment, you know, your persona is supposed to be an extension of you. So I feel like I'm somewhat of a visionary, but RJ Wallace is kind of amplified, and he really doesn't give a damn what people think of him. And he says whatever he wants, and he does whatever he wants. And I think that's what he exudes in the GCF world.
Shout out to RJ. You know, I'm gonna catch you. RJ, don't be running.
Yeah, we still got that one-on-one.
Yeah. Last one, Jamal Bostick.
Jamal Bostick, man. Let's see. Growth. I've come a long way, man, since I graduated from Boylan Park High School. I've come a long way since I left Fullerton and Cypress College. I've come a long way since I left Cal State Long Beach. I'm coming a long way right now, man. I've seen it all. I've done it all. I've had the highest of highs so far. I've had the lowest of lows, man. And you know, life has taught me a lot of things, but it's also taught me to keep going and to keep growing. You know, in my early 20s, I was young, stubborn, stupid, you know, thought life was like a Jersey Shore episode, man. You know, just kind of just going through the motions and, you know, applying myself and my time to the wrong things. And I had to, you know, got into some situations that knocked me on my ass, and I had to dig myself out of it, but I kept the faith. I looked to God, looked to my family, looked to the people who had my back for real, and dug myself out of it. And I'm really blessed to be where I'm at and to keep going and to, you know, show people that there's a way, man. So, you know, growth for sure.
Now, shout out to you, my boy, man. You really, really are trailblazing a way for a lot of people. You know, and when it's all said and done, I'm pretty sure you're gonna look back and there's gonna be a lot of people that taken that same path as you, and definitely a trendsetter, a trailblazer, a role model. You know, you're gonna be somebody that a lot of people look up to. You know, already a lot of people look up to you, but continuing to be what you are, you know, from Orange County, putting on so many people. Definitely, there are a lot of people that probably want to say thank you to you, and a lot of people that do appreciate you, my boy. And that's from the bottom of the heart right there.
Hey man, thank you, man. Thank everyone. I'm not here without any of y'all. You know, y'all words of encouragement, you guys, you know, liking what I do and what I put out, that's what keeps me going. You know, I'm only as strong as the people that believe in me.
Absolutely. So the next part, Jamal, I sent you 2 pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
You haven't, everybody knows what the deal is. He doesn't know what those pictures are. I didn't tell him what 2 pictures I was gonna send. And Jamal, explain that first picture right there. You don't have to go into detail, but like, what does that mean to you right there?
Then, one of the proudest moments of my life. Oh shit. Oh, so just watching my mom, go through her career growing up, wasn't at home a lot. The family dynamic wasn't all that great. It wasn't perfect. No family's really perfect. So, my grandparents raised me. My grandma, she's still my rock to this day, man. She's still, it's just perfect, man. Like the greatest woman alive. This was a really good moment because it was the first time where I really felt like I made my grandparents and my mom proud. Because in high school, being in Boynton Park, we all made mistakes, man. We all, you know, hanging out on Kingman and 7th, and we did some things, and there was a point in time, especially my senior year, where it felt like I wasn't gonna make it out. And when I finally put in the work and put in the effort, and kind of turned things around, and it was that I made it moment. And, this picture's from graduation, and right after this picture, man, my grandma, she cried. My grandpa took the picture, and I never seen him cry either. And they both kind of just, we kind of just sat there and hugged, man. And I was, man, oh, that was a real emotional, moment. But it was a proud moment because from that point on, I wanted to feel that feeling again of making my family proud.
That's awesome, brother, man. That's real. That's real. That's a good one right there, man. Shout out to your family, man. They did a great job raising you, and you're doing a great job and showing them everything that they taught you, my boy. And then take a look at that second picture.
Man, this family, man. They say it takes a village, and coming from Buena Park, Coach White always taught us about family. A lot of us didn't have families. Some of us were only children. Some of us had older siblings that, were in and out of the picture. A lot of us didn't have dads. Some of us didn't have moms. Some of us didn't have both parents, So we took solace and we took, home from the closest people to us. And like I said, man, growing up, we all hung around the wrong people. We all hung around people that, didn't have our best interests at heart. But, we still found brotherhood, and we still found friendships that we still have to this day, man. You my little brother, man. We didn't necessarily play together, but you played, you took the reins, after we left and, held it down. But, there's still those bonds that I still have, with Jalen, with Ryan Nelson, with Travis, Cam, Devontae, JJ, we hit each other up every now and then, Oscar Barone, he's in law school right now, Chris Ta, man, so many people, I still got that picture on my wall, with the attitude and effort on it. That's something I'm gonna cherish for the rest of my life, as family. So going into True 100 Radio, I needed people that I knew were gonna be as down for me as much as I was down for them. And I wanted to create that bond, that trust, that partnership, that family. And I found a group. We talk every day. We got the big ass group chat. That picture in particular was from the first time we all got to meet up post pandemic. Because we were doing everything virtually. Starting and running a radio station virtually was probably one of the hardest things I ever did. So that was our first time meeting each other all in person. And that was a fun night, man. We met up at the Source, ate some terrible sushi But it was good, man. It was good to just have that camaraderie in person, not over Zoom, sitting in front of a computer screen and just talking, man, just vibing, talking about a lot of things, families, relationships, music, and not really having to talk about radio stuff. We're always kind of just sitting there, talking about our shows and all these other things. So it's kind of friends being friends. And we have a lot of meetups like that. And that's I'll ride or die for any one of those people. I'll ride or die. Anybody can call me, and if they need something, I got them. That's just kind of how it is with me. People have been loyal to me. People have done things for me when I needed it and when I was down bad. So my thing has always been to pay it forward. That's why I started GCF. That's why I started True 100. That's why I work with kids at the Boys and Girls Club. That's why I do what I do. I just want to pay it forward and give back to the people that have always given to me. So, whether it's, old teammates like y'all or, my current family at True 100 or my family at GCF or even some of my classmates at SC right now, man, I got love for every single one of y'all because y'all are the reasons why I'm pushing. You feel me? Y'all are the reason why I wake up and do the morning routine every morning and edit until 4 a.m., and do all these things. So I'm not me without any one of these people we talked about on this podcast. My family, my blood family, and my actual, my friends' family. So I owe it all to everyone, and that's all my different friend groups. Everybody, man. It literally took a village to raise me, and I love Buena Park, California to the death. I'm gonna get it tatted on me soon. So, I owe this city everything I am, man.
Shout out, man. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the families, our Coyote families, our, the True 100 family, the GCF family, man. You guys are doing great things. Just it's all about pushing, all about continuing and find that motivation, find that strength within each other, and you guys are continuing to do great stuff. The last I got two more questions. The second to last question is, where can everybody find you, my boy? Like it's just Instagram, Twitter. I'll make sure I'll tag everything under below.
Yeah, so Instagram and Twitter is the same, Jamal Cinco Uno. My DMs are open after midnight, I guess, but not really because I don't read it. So, you can find me on there. It's JamalCincouno. If you want to listen to True 100 Radio, it's true100radio.com. You can follow us on social media at True 100 Radio on Instagram, and like our page on Facebook. That's TRU, the number 1, HUNDRED radio. We're all over social media. We're taking over Orange County, number 1 station in Orange County. So
right,
we got a lot of dope shows throughout the week. That's about it. I don't have a LinkedIn page. I'm supposed to make one for school, but I don't do that.
I'll make sure I'll tap everything, tag you under below, and make sure everybody can tap in with everything you got going on. Last question of the day, my boy. Who do you want to see on the Center Lock show? But you gotta help them come on. Help me get them on.
Who do I want to see on the Center Lock show? Dang. That's a good question. I feel like you need to get like every former Buena Park player on here. Ooh. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be. We'll see if he does it. We'll try to get Devin Boston on here.
Ooh, I love it. I'm gonna message my boy.
Yeah,
and Devin got some stories at JUCO.
Yeah. I want to hear some stories from when y'all play.
Talk about Lil Wayne for an hour.
You know what I need you to do? Because you were there. I need you to get Devin. I need you to get Travis. I need you to get Hakeem on. And I need y'all to talk about that Troy game. And you know which Troy game I'm talking about.
I got it. He's trying to get me jumped, but
Travis throws 4 picks in a quarter, and then Max is playing quarterback for the rest of the season. I need that. I need that podcast.
That's gonna be unfiltered. We'll get the truth. We'll get the Center Lock True Life.
Yeah. You'll get the full. You'll get the full story.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That night.
it'll be something for everybody to listen to. But man, all three of those guys, man, they will be on. They will have an episode. We have a lot of stories. I mean, me and Boston played ball high school, college, known Travis since the third grade. You know, Hakeem, we go back to the fourth, fifth grade. So all that, man, appreciate it. You know, we'll make sure we get those guys on. But again, Jamal, we could keep this going for another couple more hours, man.
We can talk all night,
We
man.
didn't even really get into the WWE talk. What we got, SummerSlam and all that. But hey, Jamal, I appreciate everything, your time, you know, all that, man. It's truly appreciative. And thank you for coming on, my boy.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, man. I love what you're doing, man. I love the podcast. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep grinding.
Yeah, man. I like Jamal, we're gonna definitely probably have you on again because I already know this episode is gonna do great. Everybody, you know, it's gonna be a great episode.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I just want to everybody, man, we're at 318 subscribers right now. We're about to hit we hit 350, we're gonna drop all our giveaway information out. So make sure we hit 350 because once we get to 350, we're gonna release everything. So make sure you guys subscribe, like, turn post notifications on, all that good stuff.
Do all
Make
that.
sure you guys share and all that.
Do all that now. Like, do it right now.
Right now.
There you go.
Hey, Jamal, thank you once again. Appreciate it. And make sure you guys tune in next week. I'm out.
Bueno Park is in the building. Bueno Park? What's the deal? Nothing but the homies out there. Nothing but the homies. What's up with the homies?
Who poppin'?